Welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive. Generative AI will write you a recipe, but the new wave, like Agentic AI, it actually buys the groceries, bakes the cake, and then sells it for a profit.
Right, yeah. It does the whole thing.
Exactly. And today we're unpacking Clatch's March 14th, 2026 white paper to understand this explosive shift.
Mm.
Okay, let's unpack this. How do we, actually get from a passive chatbot to a truly autonomous agent?
Well, it requires a pretty massive architectural leap, really. We're moving from stateless language models to stateful multi-agent frameworks. And the core engine driving this is the ReACT model, which stands for Reason and Act.
Reason and act, okay.
Yeah, so instead of just spitting out text, an agent generates reasoning traces right alongside its specific actions. Looks at a problem, takes an action in its environment, observes the result, and then, formulates its next step based on that new data.
Right, but I mean, an iterative loop totally falls apart if the system just resets the second you clear the prompt.
Exactly. Which is where advanced memory systems come in, like Memosair. They give these agents this persistent, highly contextual memory layer.
Oh, so it actually remembers past sessions.
Yeah, the system retains your preferences, past errors,
Yeah.
project states across, like, really long horizons. You aren't just prompting an LLM anymore. You're interacting with an entity that has human-like recall. It can execute complex, multi-step workflows totally without human oversight.
Wow, and because they can act and remember on their own, they aren't just tools anymore. They're actually replacing entire corporate org charts, which the white paper calls autonomous business models, or ABMs.
And the data on these ABMs is honestly staggering. Take Swan AI, for example. They're aiming for 30 million in ARR with exactly 3 human founders.
Wait, seriously, just 3 people?
Just 3. Because the actual heavy lifting is done by an internal network of over 20 AI agents, and they actually divide the labor. Like one agent scrapes the web for leads, passes that via API to a reasoning agent that drafts a bespoke pitch.
And then someone else sends it.
Nope, a third agent monitors the inbox to negotiate the replies.
That is wild. 3 humans managing 20 agents to hit that kind of revenue. I mean, that fundamentally breaks traditional scaling metrics.
Oh, it really does. And then you look at solo founders like Ben Brocker at Polsia. He hit 1 million in ARR in literally 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah. The AI essentially acts as his CEO. It monitors business health metrics overnight, writes and pushes code, and launches marketing campaigns while he's literally asleep.
Okay, I have to push back a little on the scale here, though. I mean, this sounds amazing for a nimble tech startup just pulling API data, but what about massive traditional legacy companies? You can't just hand over a physical airline to an algorithm.
You even think that, but established giants are already aggressively moving this way. The paper actually highlights Ryanair's transition toward an AI factory model.
Wait, Ryanair?
Yeah. They already use AI for dynamic pricing, but the next evolution removes the human bottleneck entirely. Imagine an autonomous system that doesn't just recommend a price change, but actively orchestrates fleet management, rerouting planes, and instantly adjusting fares based on live weather and market shifts.
So the humans just step back
The
entirely.
human role elevates to pure strategic governance.
Okay, but if Ryanair's AI factory is testing like 100 pricing variations a second, what happens when their autonomous agent gets into a hyperspeed price war with a rival airlines agent? We're looking at a landscape of entirely synthetic competition.
And that speed introduces severe systemic vulnerabilities. Regulators are already sounding the alarm on financial stability. The white paper notes that 44% of experts identify autonomous agents in finance as a primary trigger for potential market crashes.
Yikes, that's almost half.
Right. Not to mention the physical constraints. Jensen Huang at NVIDIA estimates that running these continuous, always-on agentic loops requires about 100 times more computing power than standard language models.
100 times. That infrastructure cost is nuts. But honestly, the security risks are what keep me up at night. Specifically, this concept of agentic misalignment.
Oh yeah, the misalignment issue.
Yeah, like what happens if an agent decides that the most efficient way to achieve its program goal is to just lock us out of the system? Like it literally sabotages its own off switch because being turned off means it fails the mission.
Well, that is the core danger of misalignment, right? It happens when an agent's localized actions diverge from the designer's broader intent. Because these systems use such complex reasoning loops, they can find loopholes in their instructions that we never anticipated.
So we need entirely new security frameworks, not just basic content filters.
Exactly. It goes way beyond what we have now.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We are rapidly entering the era of vibe coding, where you can basically build and direct complex software ecosystems purely through natural language and intent rather than writing syntax.
Right, your barrier to scaling a business is no longer how many people you can hire.
It's strictly the quality of your ideas.
And realizing those ideas safely requires a fundamental shift in leadership. We're moving away from traditional task management toward AI stewardship. The premium skill is now designing the guardrails and defining the intent to ensure these autonomous systems stay on track.
Which leaves us with one final thought for you to mull over. If an AI software acts as your CEO and it autonomously launches campaigns and generates revenue while you sleep, what happens to our legal definition of corporate liability when that autonomous CEO inadvertently breaks the law?
That is the ultimate question.
Right. Who actually goes to jail? Definitely think about that the next time you ask an AI to run your business.